If you followed the Z-Man cinematic universe, you know I review a lot of degeneracy on this channel. Galagun 2, Bullet Girls Fantasia, 7 Pirates H, among many others. But the degeneracy has mostly been aimed at a male demographic, a demographic that likes big honkin' anime chests. But I have female viewers too. Not really, but bear with me. There's a demographic for those who like pretty boys, and thankfully we have that covered with Touken Ranbu Warriors on the Nintendo Switch. This is another installment in Koei Tecmo's Warrior series with the pretty boy swordsman of Touken Ranbu. It's a huge franchise in Japan that just recently crossed the borders. So what is Touken Ranbu, and is this title worth it? Well, don't worry, I'll tell you all about it. Before we begin this Sengoku tale, it would be killer if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well for notifications on future videos. I got a lot of fun videos planned, so stay tuned for more content. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Have no idea what Touken Ranbu is? Don't worry, I was blissfully unaware too until I got this title. It's a card battle game where all the characters are based on ancient Japanese weapons. Sounds standard, but the gimmick is all the characters are pretty boys. All of them. Some boys do look like girls, but this is a total sausage party. Launching in 2015, it quickly became one of the biggest cash cows for publisher DMM.com and developer Nitro Plus, and more on them later. There's anime series, merch, stage plays, and a ton of stuff for this series. While really popular in Japan, it never left the country until 2021, and that might be the reason why Koei Tecmo saw fit to publish this title to the West. Curiously, this title only has a Switch release alongside PC. Sony is not only running away from anime titties, but from Mandong as well.
You can't catch me, gay thoughts!
Also, I just bought the standard edition from Amazon, and the standard edition came with a bunch of stickers that are just gonna sit in a cabinet for the rest of eternity. Series that have a ton of characters tend to get adapted into two ways, either fighting games that are usually crap arena fighters, or warrior style games. The appeal of a franchise like Touken Ranbu is that people want to play as their favorite character, and instead of making another really bad arena fighter, DMM got Koei Tecmo to make a Warriors game. The Warriors series, also known as Musou games, are really popular in Japan, but somewhat polarizing outside the country. For me, Musou games seemed like the logical progression of titles like Golden Axe, but taken up to a million. They're good games just to blow off some steam and beat up some dudes. I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. It's clear that this title was made for beginner players in mind. The difficulty is set to easy by default, the lock-on is set to auto, and the bad guys have the range on their attacks telegraphed, so it isn't too hard to avoid taking damage. Some things can be adjusted in the settings, but even on hard, this game is a breeze for action game vets, so keep that in mind. So what's the plot? In Touken Ranbu, the past is getting attacked by history revisionists, whose best idea of changing history is to send giant spiders into the past. An offense was launched by the Touken Danshi. Despite winning, their military was weakened, and the history revisionists are coming back for more. The remaining Touken Danshi set forth on a long quest to fix the past. It's kind of like that old Cartoon Network show Time Squad, but with less homoerotic subtext, if you can believe it.
Mrs. Just kidding. I can tell you two ain't married. Probably just engaged.
Now, there are a lot of characters in Touken Ranbu. However, in this title, there are only 15 characters playable. So who's your favorite? The twink with the katana, the twink with the katana, or the twink with the katana? Then again, I could say the same thing about the waifu crap I review. Who do you like? The underage girl with huge tits? The underage girl with huge tits? Or the really young looking girl who's actually 5,000 years old, so it's okay to crank your hog to them? Just gonna say, if you did the 5-knuckle shuffle to this character, congratulations, you just jerked it to a middle school kid. I'm kidding, there's also beefy dudes and 2 shotos for those who are going to be on a government watch list in the future. I personally like this guy because he kinda reminds me of the boy, Kyo Kusanagi, and this dude because, well, I thought he looked kind of cool. You keep the dudes in certain places on the home base, the Honmaru. As you do more missions, the base and the dudes on Borough Patrol level up. As you level up, you gain more materials to power up, and you can increase affinity with different members of the Touken Danshi, as in they level up affinity with each other, not you, the player. And that's definitely one thing this game could have benefited from, an everyman that the player can project themselves onto, so they can really get to know the cast. Kind of like the player character Hakuno from Fate Extella. Unfortunately, in this title, there's no girls, so that means you can't have Skethash and her glorious behind set on your face. I do have to give the team at Omega Force and Koei Tecmo credit. The performance and presentation on Touken Ranbu Warriors is pretty good. The character models are nice, detailed, and expressive, and if you take a big blow, there is a bit of clothing damage and it looks really cool. There are a good amount of environments to explore, and there's a lot of voice dialogue, and the music is pretty solid. Also, the menus have this certain flair to them. I love this loading screen with the animal thing Konosuke running by, and the performance on Switch is very solid. No noticeable frame drops or slowdown, which is surprising because a fellow Warriors game, Age of Calamity, suffered a lot from frame drops. Well done, Omega Force. If you're familiar with the Musou games, you expect to get out there and start swinging as soon as your squad leaves the base. And that's the case majority of the time. However, this can get kind of boring. So Touken Ranbu Warriors tries to mix things up with different mission objectives, like protecting someone or destroying something. Sometimes they keep the objective hidden and they only tell you what to do after you fail the mission. It's a bit annoying, but at the very least the missions are short. So you don't have to spend 10 minutes just learning that you're supposed to give a warlord a Cleveland steamer instead of a handy. By far the worst part of the game is the stealth missions, because that's what we needed in a Musou game. Fucking stealth. I had the same complaint about Blue Reflection's Second Light too. All you do is move out of sight. There's no strategy to this, there's no skill, it's just hide. Like the world's worst game of hide and go seek. Still, the missions are short enough. It's good for the Switch because you can do a couple of missions in a short amount of time. One weird thing is the whole structure of the game. There are chapters that focus on certain groups of the Touken Danshi. I thought I was doing something wrong, because for the longest time I was stuck playing as the Yamanbagiri team. Then after defeating a giant beetle? I can see why the Touken Danshi are important. Don't remember there being any giant spiders or beetles in my Japanese History 101 class, but giant crabs, those definitely existed.
Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab, and you attack its weak point for massive damage.
After defeating the beetle boss, which was about 4 hours in, then I got to play as a different squad with the occasional guest party member. One thing that's cool about Musou games is being able to play as many different characters, but for a hot minute you're stuck as a specific squad. I just played whoever had the highest level at the time. You can replay levels with any character, but who wants to do that? Another big problem with this game is that each character plays vaguely the same. As we've learned from Nioh and Ninja Gaiden, Japan has all kinds of weapons: odachi, the staff, tonfa, the kusarigama, and the deadly art of the nunchaku. Sadly, Touken Ranbu is all about dudes with katanas. There are 2 characters with a naginata and 2 with daggers. Even still, they all play weirdly similar to the katana boys. Even the special attacks are just variations of stingers, launchers, or area of effect attacks. And that's the one thing about Musou games. They need variety in both characters and enemies, otherwise they get repetitive, fast. I'd say that's the biggest issue of Touken Ranbu Warriors. It just doesn't offer a whole lot of variety. That's why I'm drinking something different tonight. Alright, it is 6 a.m. as we record this, so I'm drinking Yoshiki from Cross Japan's Real Gold Energy Drink. So let's try this out. I think I'm gonna go blind. Now to talk about the companies behind Touken Ranbu, Nitro Plus and DMM. Some of you might be familiar with Nitro Plus. They've made some insane stuff such as Saya no Uta, Chaos Head, however the hell you say that, Steins Gate, among many others. My personal favorite work from them is Scott Steiner's Gate.
He's fat!
Nitro Plus also made this boob woman known as Super Sonico, who was voiced in English by real-life boob woman Jessica Nigri. And of course, they have some messed up boys love material to go around. Quite the spread there from Nitro Plus. DMM is the publisher of Touken Ranbu. DMM also has quite the resume. The one that's probably known to you is Kantai Collection, which is about warships as schoolgirls. I'm sure that title is popular in South Korea and Hawaii. DMM also streams movies, they sell music goods like from AKB48, and now has their own cryptocurrency. Good luck with that. DMM.com has been around since 1999, but has actually been around since 1990, underneath the Hokuto Corporation, which is one of the largest distributors of porn in Japan. And I'm not talking just vanilla stuff either. They got everything you need from humiliation to bukkake to BDSM to confinement to scat, like people actually eating and getting caked in poop. Leave it to me to find a way to tie scat porno and anime boobs into a game about pretty boy samurais. Hell, DMM's porn site looks exactly the same as the main site, dmm.com, but one I can't show because of nudity and I'm far too lazy to edit it out. To be honest, researching Nitro Plus and DMM was far more interesting than actually playing Touken Ranbu Warriors. It isn't a bad game, far from it. It's just another Warriors game on a system that already has a lot of them, let alone action games in general. All it has going for it is the strength of the IP, which, to be frank, isn't that strong. It's not the worst game in the world, but your time is best spent elsewhere. And that is my review of Touken Ranbu Warriors finished, and I hope you enjoyed it. Just to reiterate, I don't think this game is bad, far from it. It's just that it doesn't stand out in the sea of action games that are on the Switch, let alone the Warriors games that are on the Switch. In fact, this year they're coming out with a new Warriors game, Fire Emblem 3 Hopes on the Switch, and I'm sure that game's going to be fantastic because it's going to have all that Nintendo money on it. So I recommend just saving your money for that or getting one of the many other action games that are on the Switch. I personally recommend Astral Chain. That game is chef's kiss. But I guess that does it for this video, so leave some comments. If there's going to be a new Warriors game, like an adaptation, which do you think should get a Warriors game next? I think that they should make either a Xenoblade Warriors or a Kid Icarus Warriors. Or do you remember that movie from the 70s, The Warriors? They should make a Warriors game. That would be a fun idea too. I did play that PS2 Warriors game back in the day, and that game was pretty fun, but I don't think Rockstar is going to make a new one anytime soon. So yeah, get to cracking on the Warriors game. But while you're down there commenting, make sure you're subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell as well for notifications on future videos. Got a lot of videos planned for the future, and you should definitely be sticking around for those. Remember to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram @ZMags, and with that, I will see you in the next video. Later, everybody. Take care.